Hi, and welcome to Otto & Sons Nursery. My name is Scott Klitich. I'm the owner of Otto & Sons, and we're going to talk about raspberries, blueberries, and boysenberries today. These fruits grow great in our area. There's a few tricks that you'll need to use to get them to produce, but nothing that you can't take care of. The berries like to be in full sun. They do best in those areas, unless you're inland where it's really hot. It was really hot in one of the desert areas. You're going to want to put them someplace where they have shade in the afternoon, a little bit of protection in the afternoon. Otherwise, they could sunburn. But most everywhere else, full sun works really well. The berries like to be in our typical soil, but they like to have good drainage. And the one way to create good drainage is to make a raised bed. You can use a board, make a frame, say a 2x6 or 2x8, kind of stand them up on edge and fill that area with a potting soil, blend it with your native soil, and that makes a really nice medium for these plants to grow in. One thing to remember about blueberries, one thing to remember about raspberries and boysenberries and blackberries is they do trail. The roots will continue to go wherever the moisture is. So if you have put this next to a lawn area where it's constantly moist, those roots are going to head right in your lawn area. You're going to have some problems in those areas. So you want to isolate the area so there's no plants around it, no irrigation around it that's going to allow the moisture to go. Otherwise you could have some problems, more maintenance issues. When you plant, I like the Harvest Supreme. It's a really good product to put. It's got like 15% chicken manure in it. Give the plants a little bit of a kick there when you first put them in when you first get them planted. Mulching, it's always good to have mulch on top of the soil for any plant, 2 to 4 inches. Any kind of we have the zero mulch here that works really well, but you could use bark, you could use wood chips, anything that you can put on there to create that layer of nice big that compost area, that mulch area, where it will feed the soil, keep the soil cooler, and that's a real benefit to the plant and the soil environment. Moisture, you want to irrigate the plants so that they will constantly be moist. Not saturate all the time, you want to let them dry out a little bit in between, but you want a consistent moisture throughout the season. Most of the fruit will come between spring and through fall. You'll have almost 6 or 8 months of fruit. Some actually fruit ever bearing, you'll get it all the time. Some are a little heavy in front and then they'll have a little more in the back, but you can pretty much get a lot of fruit all the time. Fertilizing, I like the GMB product of the organics, the citrus and fruit tree fertilizer. That works really well. And also you can add some, the fish emulsion does really well to help give a little bit of a nitrogen there. One problem you might have is with pests with these is birds. Birds will get in there, and the little black netting works really well for controlling the birds, keeping them out. But be certain when you do use the netting that you wrap the entire plant in the net so the birds can't get underneath and get trapped inside, because they will try and do that and they won't be able to get out. So wrap it all around. Once you finish your harvest, you can certainly remove the net so that way the plant doesn't grow through the net and you can't reuse the net. So I want to talk about trimming of the raspberries and boysenberries and blackberries. A little different than a lot of other things. There's 2 terms you'll hear, primocane and florocane, and that's the methods that you use for pruning. Primocane, it was a variety that produces fruit on this year's new growth. So like right here, even this one here, it's a brand new growth this year, and it's got some flowers on it. This is a primocane variety. This new fruit wood, primarily on the new wood. Whereas the florocane produces fruit on the older wood from last year. So the way you prune these is that the primocane, you'll take and cut everything back on the plant in January when the plant's dormant. You trim the whole thing back and it'll regrow, and the new growth will produce fruit. Whereas the florocane, a little more complicated, you take and it produces fruit on last year's wood. So you want to remove all the branches that are in here that are brown because they've already produced fruit and they're finished. The ones that are green, you'll leave behind. You'll be doing this in January, so you'll see the difference at that point. So the older wood you remove, the new wood you hang on to, and that's where your fruit will come. So you have florocane with old wood removed, primocane where you remove everything and let the new growth come in to produce your fruit. And all of our labels tell you which way to trim, so that way you can do a good job at that. Okay, that's everything about the berries. Give us a call, make a comment in the questions. In the comment section, we'll respond as quickly as we can. And thanks for watching. Take care.